Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to my channel. This is the supposedly quick update to my last video that I shot, which was of my sump and hardware. I know I said it wasn't going to be a very long time till I shot the tank, the corals and the fish, but hey, life is what it is, and sometimes you get thrown curveballs and you have to deal with those, and things come first, and those are the things you have to deal with. That being said, let's get the show started. This is my 105 gallon, I guess it's a 100-gallon custom tank. It was built by Miracles Aquariums in Orangeville. It is 48 inches wide by 24 inches front to back by 20 inches tall. So I wanted it a little bit shorter. I didn't need to stand on a stool to reach in and work on the corals or work on the bottom of the substrate. It is a rimless tank. No Euro bracing. Starfire glass on the front and left and right sides. I have a overflow at the very back, in the center of the tank, an internal overflow with two 1-inch drain lines. I have a 1-inch return line that comes from the sump. One of the drain lines is a main drain, and I have an emergency overflow as a backup, just in case. A little bit different than what I'm used to using. In the past, I've always had 1.5 inch overflows. If I had to do it again, would I go back to 1.5 inch? I think so. 1.5 inch, it was a little bit less fussy to dial in. This took some messing around to finally get dialed in where it was quiet and wasn't gurgling and doing, you know, making a lot of bubbly sounds and things like that. So anyway, without further ado, let me introduce you to my corals and my fish. On the left side of the tank, we'll start off with, I have a couple of Aussie torches. I love the Aussie torches. The colors are just fantastic. And really, the video that I'm shooting doesn't really do the corals justice. At least these two corals anyway. One is an Aussie gold, and the other one is a Aussie pink tip, I believe. But I love them. Beautiful, beautiful corals. Just going up from them, I have a little patch of Xenia that I mowed down to the quick. In other words, I cut it right back. What? I don't know, a few months back, because it was just spreading around the tank, and I thought I got it all, but lo and behold, looks like I missed some of it. It was stuck down deep in the rock and it started to appear. I've just left it for now. The bird's nest corals, I have two of them. A strawberry bird's nest and a green bird's nest that have probably tripled in size from when I bought them at the London Frag Fest this past summer. So they're doing very, very well. And I'll leave them, so I'll leave those Xenias there for a while. The bird's nest are stinging them a little bit, keeping them at bay. And when they get to be problematic, I'll probably cut them out again. Just down and to the right of the bird's nest is a purple plating LPS Coral. It's a Montek confusa. Sorry, not the purple variety. This is the red variety. And for some reason, this video is not giving it the color I wanted to see. Above that is a green Montek confusa. Beautiful coral, doing very, very well. It's probably quadrupled in size from when I got it. Most of my corals I've been purchasing through Incredible Aquarium in London. Bill Sluice is a great guy to deal with. Always brings in top-notch coral and fish, and very happy with this one. It's turned out very, very well. Below that I have a very, very large colony, Duncan colony, probably, oh, a neighborhood of probably 35, 36 heads, I think. Last time I counted this when it was gone to sleep. A lot of heads on there. It's just an incredibly beautiful coral. Below that and to the left is a Elegance Coral. I really love the Elegance Corals. They're a really beautiful coral, fast growing, hardy, and I like hardy corals. I don't like to have to baby my corals too much. This guy, I think he would probably have doubled in size from when I got him. A couple of my brain corals. These were picked up from the Coral Reef Shop in Burlington. They were hand-picked by Red, one of the employees there. He gave me a text message one day and he had them held in his hand. And he said, what do you think? I know you said you wanted some brain corals. Are you interested? I'm like, yeah, sign me up. Here's my credit card. I'll be down to pick them on the weekend. So, yeah, that's them. Beautiful corals. Semi-inflated right now. At times they really puff up, as any of you know who own these corals. This is a really nice coral. Just trying to remember the name of this one. What do we call this one? We call this one, it's an Aussie Lobophilia. It is an LPS coral. I have a lot of LPS corals in this tank. This guy has been with me for 3 tanks. He survived 3 moves, 3 tanks, lots of abuse, unfortunately, from other corals falling onto him, stinging him. But this guy is now holding his own. Just an absolutely stunning coral. I love this coral. It may look a bit red and blue in the video, but it's actually orange and purple. It's just a really, really nice coral. Just behind that is the purple plating Montek confusa. Just another great fast-growing coral. Purple with some white tips on it. Over to the right of that, I have a small colony of Nephthia that I have trimmed back now twice and given away some pretty hefty pieces of it to some friends in the hobby. So I really like that coral as well. Just up from that, I have a Sunset Montipora, small piece that I broke off of a large frag, a large colony. I have 2 of them now in the tank, this one and another one which I'll show you in a minute. Just to the right of that, an Acropora. Can't tell you the species, unfortunately, but it's doing quite well. Then I have a pink Montipora who's doing quite well. I like this one because it likes to grow towards the light. So it's forming that nice upturned cup, if you want to call it that. Just above that, I have some more Acropora on the shelf up there. Just to the left of the Acropora, you can see I have a cold coral that hasn't really opened up tonight, unfortunately. It's a nice looking cold coral, which is a softie. Over to the right, I have another piece of the green Sunset Montipora. Very nice coral. It's bright green with little red flecks in it. Some people call it the Christmas Montipora, but I'll leave it at what I call it. I have a large toadstool leather here. I actually have two of these in the tank. One in the front just off the center and one on the right hand side of the tank. Just behind him you can see my green bubble tip anemone and the two Ocellaris clowns that host in that anemone. So it's doing quite well. It has not moved in that from its position in a year now, which I'm quite happy about. Over to the right, we have some really nice torch corals. These are from Indo-Pacific, so they're not Aussie torches, but very nice. The top one is a branching hammer, and the bottom one is a torch coral. They're doing very, very well. Quite happy with these. Had a bit of bad luck with a run of torches there for a while with brown slime disease. If you ever battle that disease, it's a nasty one, and it can take out LPS soft torches and branching hammers in no time flat. So be aware of that disease. It happens quite easily if the coral is damaged. Any of the tissue gets damaged on the sharp plates of the coral when the tissue is receded or the tissue is actually out, and it can get cut and damaged, or if they're in excessive flow. Too high a flow will really do these corals in. So got to be very careful with them. Just above it, I have a nice dark red Montek, large plate, doing quite well. And just over to the right over here, you can see my clown wrasse and the other toadstool leather. That clown wrasse is quite a nice fish. He gets well fed on all the pods that are in the tank. But I must tell you that recently I purchased, I was one of the first persons, fortunately, to purchase some of LRS's Reef Frenzy. I got that from my good friend Frank Aguirre, who now is distributing it in Canada. And I met Frank down at the Coral Reef Shop in Burlington and picked up a couple of big frozen pouches of it from him. And I really love it. It's fantastic food. My fish just go crazy for it. It really is everything they say. You don't need to rinse it. You just simply thaw a bit or throw in a frozen chunk, and it just dissolves away in the tank and the fish eat it, and there's absolutely no issues whatsoever. Not making a mess at all. So very happy with that food. No Ocellaris clowns. Have some blue-green chromis. My funky yellow tang, who looks like he's got a albino face. He's kind of neat. Very healthy fish. Feisty little bugger though. Him and my blue tang, my regal blue tang, they're always scrapping. I did have a beautiful, absolutely beautiful, as you know, powder blue tangs. I had one of them in the here. Good size one too, probably 4.5 inches overall. He got stuck against one of my MP40s, the new quiet drives, which really was a shame to see him stuck up there. You know, their long flat lateral bodies there. He got stuck against the side of it and just couldn't break free. And I don't know, he'd been there probably for a couple of hours by the time I noticed him. He was still alive. I put him down in the sand, and he just never came around. He would fall over and lay there, so I ended up euthanizing him. He's still in the freezer. I got to get him out and toss him out. He's in the freezer. What else have we got in here for fish? There is a yellow watchman goby and a tiger pistol shrimp somewhere. They're in there somewhere. And then I have a diamondback goby, who's also in the tank, and he's playing hide and seek right now. But I don't have a lot of livestock. There's a couple of fish I'd like to get. They're on my wish list, and I will get them eventually. But at this point, no great hurry. I'll get around to them shortly. So this is my tank, folks. Look at that. So Ryan, just so you do know, I never did have any coralline algae in this tank. It isn't growing like crazy. There's some in there. It has started to appear on the back of my tank on the overflow box. So it's coming slowly but surely. Your smoothie was added. Thank you very much. And we are doing like you suggested. The magnesium is very high in this tank. Calcium is high as well, as alkalinity is kept up there too. It's around, that hovers between 9 and 9.3 and 9.8 any given week. Calcium hovers around 440 to 450, and the magnesium I like to keep it around 15 to 1520, so it's quite high. But everything's doing quite well. It's happy. I have gotten through my problem with the diatoms on the sand. Don't know really what it was, what could be causing that. Could have been any number of things. I did modify the flow a little bit, and also got in the habit of stirring up the sand whenever I was down in the basement and walked by the tank. I'd get my stick out and stir the sand up a little bit, or a turkey baster and blow it around a little bit. It just helps to break it up, keeps it clean. So that's my tank, folks. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for another episode. Hopefully you won't have to wait as long for the next one.